I, 28M, am a structural engineer, so I'm literally trained to spot cracks before a building collapses. Too bad I didn't apply those skills to my relationship with my girlfriend, 26F, sooner. We'd been together for 3 years, and she lived in the house I bought and renovated with my own sweat and savings. She worked as a social media consultant, which basically meant she lived for likes while I paid for the electricity that charged her phone. The drama started when her ex-boyfriend, 29M, moved back to town. He's the guy who cheated on her repeatedly in college, but suddenly, she was all over his Instagram. Every gym selfie he posted, she'd hit that heart icon. Every deep caption about fresh starts, she was in the comments with heart eyes. I finally brought it up over dinner, and she didn't even have the decency to look away from her screen. She told me it wasn't a big deal and that I was being insecure. Then she dropped the line that started the end. "You don't own me. You can't control who I follow." I didn't blow up. I just looked at her and said, "And you can't control who I love." She laughed like I was being some dramatic poet, but I was being literal. I had stopped loving her in that moment. I loved the version of myself that didn't let people walk all over him. The next day, she went further. She shared his post about a new car, which I knew was a lease he couldn't afford, and captioned it about how proud she was of his hard work. Meanwhile, she was asking me to pay her car insurance because her consulting was slow. The entitlement was unreal. I checked our shared vacation fund and saw she'd borrowed $3,000 over the last 2 months. I tracked the withdrawals to the exact nights she was out with the girls at the same bars her ex was tagging himself in. When I confronted her, she flipped the script, calling me toxic and saying I was suffocating her. She even posted a picture of herself looking sad in my living room with a caption about how the person who builds the house can make it feel like a prison. Her ex commented, "You deserve to be free," and she liked it. That was it. I spent that afternoon with my lawyer looking at our cohabitation agreement. Since we weren't married and she never contributed to the mortgage, she was legally a licensee, a guest. I drafted a 30-day notice to vacate. I also canceled the $10,000 Japan trip I'd planned for our anniversary and got most of the money back. Then I made my own post. I posted a photo of a single piece of high-end luggage by the front door with a caption, "Clearing out the clutter to make room for what actually matters. Some things are better left in the past." She saw it and panicked, but instead of apologizing, she got her mother to call and scream at me. When that didn't work, she tried to play the legal card. She hired a lawyer who sent me a cease and desist, claiming she had sweat equity in my house because she'd bought a rug and helped paint a wall. While I was at a hotel figuring things out, she actually changed the locks on my own house and started a live stream from my couch talking about knowing your worth while sipping my wine. I'm an engineer. I don't kick doors down. I dismantle systems. I didn't cut her phone off. That looks like retaliation in court. But I downgraded her to 3G speeds. Have you ever tried to run a social media business on 3G? It's impossible. Then I did a public records search on the X. The guy had an active warrant for unpaid child support. I sent a burner message to the ex telling him my girlfriend was about to get a 6-figure settlement from me and was looking for someone to help her invest it. A grifter can't resist a payday. My Nest Cam, which I still control because the Wi-Fi was in my name, showed the ex in my house the next day. They were drinking my expensive scotch and laughing about how they'd squeeze $50,000 out of me. I called her mother and told her that if her daughter didn't sign a voluntary surrender of occupancy in 2 hours, I was calling the cops to report a squatter and a fugitive in my house. The ex bolted so fast he probably left skid marks, and she signed the paper within minutes. I showed up with private security to oversee her move out. She was throwing her stuff into trash bags, screaming that I was financially abusing her because I'd filed a fraud claim with the bank for the $3,000 she stole. Since the account was mine, and she only had secondary access for emergencies, the bank reversed the charges while they investigated her. She was literally at a negative balance while trying to pack. But she wasn't done. She posted a 20-minute video titled "My Truth," accusing me of digital surveillance and abuse. My boss called me because her followers were tanking the firm's Google reviews. I didn't go to social media to fight back. I went to court. I sued her for defamation per se and tortious interference with business relations. I had the iMessages she left logged into on my iPad, texts where she explicitly planned to fake a domestic incident to get the house. She tried to start a GoFundMe for her legal fees and raised $7,000, but I flagged it for wire fraud. Using a crowdfunding site to solicit money under false pretenses is a felony. The platform froze the funds immediately. She showed up at my office looking like a wreck, begging me to drop the suit because she couldn't afford a lawyer and her bad boy ex had vanished after stealing her mother's jewelry. She actually got on her knees on my porch a few days later, crying that she had nothing and nowhere to go. She asked me what she was supposed to do. I told her to follow her own advice and go find herself, just not on my property. The legal fallout was the final nail. To avoid the iMessages becoming public record, she signed a confession of judgment. She now owes me the $3,000 plus all my legal fees, which will be garnished from any job she ever gets. She had to post a pinned public apology admitting she lied, which effectively nuked her career as an influencer. Now she's working a warehouse job and her ex is in lockup. I'm back in my house and it's finally quiet. I guess she was right. I really couldn't control who she followed, but I definitely controlled where that path ended. If you enjoyed seeing a social media consultant get a reality check that wasn't Instagram filtered, hit that subscribe button. I promise my updates have a lot more integrity than her captions. Would you like to hear about the time her mother tried to sue me for emotional distress over the jewelry her own daughter's boyfriend stole?